is Sparkle working for? While on the surface the answer would be herself, given it just seems she's on Penacony to indulge herself, dig a little deeper and we learn she's here on a pseudo-mission, if you will, hired by someone to do a task as revealed to us by Black Swan.
I don't really understand why you're so fixated on destroying family barriers. But, as I said before, a memo keeper can't help you. It's frankly above my pay grade. Also, I don't consider you a loner. Oh, I don't mean him, but rather behind you. The one who hired you to come to Penacony probably doesn't want you secretly linking up with other forces, right?
How did you know?
Putting aside what destroying family barriers means, what's interesting about this scene is the implication Black Swan makes about who Sparkle's benefactor could be, because when Black Swan says behind you, the one thing immediately behind Sparkle is the Clockie statue. Now, we know very little about Clockie, but of the small bits of information we do know about this little Mickey Mouse looking fuck, Clockie is the mascot of Penacony. For now, it can only be seen by those pure of heart, and in a voice line, Misha assures us he didn't create Clockie.
Hey, let me tell you a secret. Clockie is actually real. He isn't just an imaginary friend I made up.
To the point of who created Clockie, we do know the answer, as it's told to us the Watchmaker created Clockie. When speaking of the many faces the Watchmaker dons, the master of dream of machination Set writes, quote, "Some say he was once a craftsman at a clock tower. Some say he was once a merchant who sold timepieces. There are even those who say his head is shaped like a watch face, just like Clockie, which he created." However, there are some problems with either the Watchmaker or Clockie being the ones who tasked Sparkle with destroying family barriers, and it's why. The Watchmaker is the father of Penacony, and he presumably was the one who invited all the factions, including the Masked Fools, as the guest list is called the Watchmaker's guest list. However, what's interesting is the way everything went down, because my understanding is the family invited several factions to the Charmony Festival, but didn't actually specify who was to represent them. So for instance, in the case of the Masked Fools, I'd imagine the invite was sent to the tavern, and once received, the Masked Fools deliberated amongst themselves who would represent them, responded in kind, and that's when these neat little cards were made. If this is true, however, it seems like Sparkle wasn't the one chosen by the rest of the Masked Fool brethren, because, according to Black Swan, Sparkle infiltrated Penacony.
Her name is Sparkle, a masked fool who has infiltrated Penacony. Don't worry, she won't be bothering you for now. She's probably patting herself on the back for a job well done.
So what may have happened is the Masked Fools at the tavern chose some other fool to go to Penacony, but once Sparkle was hired to do something in Penacony, she took it upon herself to brute force her way into Penacony by either incapacitating the other fool or otherwise, in a way that harmed her relationship with the tavern. This could explain why, when she gives Sampo the keys for his mask back, she makes sure to tell him that when he goes to retrieve his mask, "You never saw me."
Just kidding. I loved seeing that look on your face. Take this key to the tavern cellar, third barrel on the left. You never saw me.
No matter how she got here, the end result is the same, which is she's here, just reveling in whatever small bits of chaos she could stir. But again, while on the surface it seems like Sparkle is here to do nothing more than troll, she was hired to come to Penacony with the goal of destroying family barriers. She had originally invited Black Swan to aid her in this endeavor, who rejected her offer because she wants only the Trailblazer. However, before stating that, she wondered how a memo keeper would be able to help with this goal, and even said it's above her pay grade. One initial thought as to what this goal could mean is destroying the barrier between the dreamscape the family is currently maintaining and the real dreamscape that has things like the meme in it. Perhaps Sparkle wants to mesh the two worlds into one and watch the meme drop a fucking Moab based on the amount of killing it would do. Some problems present itself with this theory, however, the last of which is why she'd do this, because again, the end goal of her assignment benefits the one who hired her most of all. Sparkle may have only agreed to take this job simply because it sounds fun to her, never minding the consequences of her actions. However, the biggest problem with this is the fact that a memo keeper would somehow be of no use. If this is indeed Sparkle's mission, it would make sense then she'd want the help of a memo keeper, given them niggas are Jesus Christ reborn in the dreamscape. I mean, hell, Sunday tells us they can expertly manipulate the memoria at a higher level than anyone else. But Black Swan's statement that a memo keeper can't... Why would I do that?
Thanks for the compliment. In fact, we don't really have an in-depth understanding of the memoria. Unless you're one of the memo keepers of the Garden of Recollection, it can be difficult at first to manipulate the memoria as you wish.
But Black Swan's statement that a memo keeper can't help her wouldn't make a lot of sense if this was the case. Unless, of course, by can't, Black Swan means they can, but are bound in another way where they can't help her. You get what I'm saying? But given the very next sentence is, it's above my pay grade, you know, the former seems more likely. But if this isn't Sparkle's mission, then what is her mission? What is something so big and so grand that it's above the pay grade of a memo keeper? I have no fucking idea, my nigga. I don't know, my friends, because it's never been mentioned again, bro. Keep in mind, I'm assuming this Black Swan Sparkle quest takes place shortly before we arrive unto Penacony, so it's not like an insane amount of things must have happened before this and the main story. So the fact that it's never brought up again, especially by Black Swan, who just chose to say when speaking of Sparkle, she won't be bothering us for now, isn't very comforting when we learn through the dream bubble that Sparkle is currently plotting the 9/11 for Penacony. And that's all you're giving us? She won't be bothering us for now? I mean, sure, what about later, my nigga? I mean, we know she isn't interested in helping aventurine with his goal of returning all of Penacony to the IPC, but that seems to be more of a she doesn't like aventurine thing.
How did you do it, little peacock? Did you strip yourself naked, apologize to him on your knees, and promise that the IPC would never harm Penacony?
With regards to her interaction with Sunday, it just seemed like she was instigating like a motherfucker, bro.
I'm just curious. Now things have come to this. Is the family still unwilling to fight? I mean, your darling sister's already a goner, right? Really? Don't tell me you're not craving a little vengeance.
This is some we all knew one of these niggas that would just sit here and instigate non-stop, bro. But again, this just feels like it ties into her personality, which is to just cause chaos, and doesn't reveal much in the way of her true motives. I guess she could be working with the mastermind, but I don't know. I mean, well, I guess working with the mastermind would explain if, you know, destroy the dream barriers and have the meme come up and drop a nuke, but I don't know. I kind of like the idea that there's just a bunch of rogue parties on Penacony. I mean, as it stands right now, the IPC faction is after all of Penacony. The Stellaron hunters are after the Watchmaker's legacy. The masked fools are here to destroy barriers, and the mastermind is just... I mean, this nigga just like wants death, bro. And the family, you know, is just, you know, they hey guys, just enjoy the festival. Regardless, it seems like we'll have to wait till 2.1 because Sparkle was still scarcely used in 2.0, and I mean, I'm sure she'll play a much bigger role in the future.